The Oilers fans would have been stunned if they would have known that this Week 3 win would be the only one of the 1972 season. Here, Joe Namath hooks up with tight end Jerome Barkham on a 25-yard touchdown. Namath just missed having his second touchdown pass in the first two Jets drives when Rich Castor was caught from behind on this 61-yard pass play. Ken Burrow just missed scoring a long touchdown here. Defensive back John Charles lit up Don Maynard, but he got his bell rung too. Benny Johnson returned this fumble 16 yards. Joe Namath hit Rich Castor on this 10-yard scoring strike. Down 26-20, Namath kept firing late in the game. But Benny Johnson picked a great time to pick off his only career interception, and he ran it back 34 yards to preserve the Oilers' victory. Fran Tarkenton and John Gilliam torched the Dolphins in the first possession of the game on this 56-yard touchdown. Then Roy Winston laid out Larry Zonka with his backbreaker. Dolphins' only scoring threat in the first half was snuffed out by number 20, cornerback Bobby Bryant. Bill Brown scored on a 1-yard plunge late in the fourth quarter. Vikings 14, Dolphins 6. Bob Greasy to Jim Kick to Marlon Briscoe. To Jim Mandich for 23 yards. That play set up this 51-yard field goal by Garo Yepremian. With 2 minutes 11 seconds remaining, Miami got the ball again, and Greasy hooked up with Howard Twilley for 17 yards. The very next play, Jim Mandich caught the 3-yard winning score that was possible when defensive tackle Bob Lurtzma was called for roughing the passer on a 3rd and 10 pass play that fell incomplete. Dolphins 16, Vikings 14. Bills hadn't scored against the Colts in the past 10 quarters. Colts shut down O.J. Simpson and the entire Bills offense, as Buffalo did not register a first down and only generated 13 yards of offense in the first half. Here, Ted Hedrick's zigs and zags. He says enough of that. Let's get the ball over to Rick Volk. The old master, John Unitas, hit Tom Mitchell on this 27-yarder. Then Unitas passed to the human bowling ball, Don Nottingham, for a nice 24-yard gain. And Nottingham did some damage on the ground with this 20-yard romp. Sam Havrilak tacked on a 12-yard touchdown run to make the final score 17-0, extending the Bills' scoreless streak against Baltimore to 14 quarters. In New Orleans, the winless Saints had their work cut out for them. Against the 49ers, kick returner Margene Atkins scooted 61 yards. The 49ers sacked Archie Manning 5 times. To make matters worse, Saints receivers dropped 6 passes. Manning was intercepted 4 times, and the Saints lost 3 fumbles. Number 22, Vic Washington, gained 75 yards rushing. He also did an excellent job in the open field after receiving this pass. And he ended up scoring this touchdown. '70 NFL MVP John Brodie tossed this short pass to number 35, Larry Schreiber, who demonstrated his balance, power, and rage. John Brodie's short passing game was sharp and resulted in touchdowns to Gene Washington here. And here to number 82, Ted Kwolek. Nick Simpson returned this errant Manning pass 32 yards to tally the game's final score. 49ers 37, Saints 2. Cardinals quarterback Gary Cuozzo had a rough day against the Steelers. Here, Ralph Anderson boogies 41 yards on 1 of 4 interceptions thrown by Cuozzo, who went 15 of 35 passing. Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw had plenty of time to throw, but couldn't find anyone, so he took off on a 21-yard trip. Then he lifted off from the 1. Cardinals punter Donnie Anderson redeemed himself to make the score Pittsburgh 15, Cardinals 12. Norm Thompson blocked, recovered, and ran this punt back 8 yards to make the score Cardinals 19, Steelers 15. But with a little over 1 minute remaining, Bradshaw found Frank Lewis down the sideline for a 38-yard score. This is the scene of the Battle of Ohio. In all of the Browns-Bengals meetings, the margin of victory had never been greater than 4 points. Until now. Number 75, Wes Grant knocked the ball loose from Ken Anderson. And number 84, Bob Briggs chugged 11 yards for a touchdown. This was Browns quarterback Mike Phipps' first start in Cleveland. He hit Frank Pitts here. Then he hit him here for a big 68-yard touchdown. The Dallas Cowboys were quite confident marching into Milwaukee's County Stadium, riding a 12-game regular season winning streak. Greg Morton was sacked 4 times. Oof. He's picked off 3 times, this one by Al Matthews, who had 2 on the day. John Brockington battered his way to 91 yards rushing and also tacked on a touchdown. Cowboys wide receiver Lance Alworth showed that he had a little left in the tank. This was the last year of his 11th pro season. The other wide receiver, Bob Hayes, also showed that he had a little bit left too. This was the biggest play of the game. Morton's pass that was intercepted by rookie Willie Buchanan. It set up the game-winning field goal by Chester Markole, who had kicked 3 on the day. Packers 16, Cowboys 13. In Chicago, the wind was howling and the scoreboard was working overtime. Bears quarterback Bobby Douglas ran 12 times for 97 yards in this game. There was so much offense in this game that the teams combined for only 1 punt, which tied the NFL record. Lions quarterback Greg Landry was a one-man gang as he ran for 3 touchdowns and passed for another. He rushed for 87 yards on 9 carries. During the week leading up to this game, Bears middle linebacker Dick Butkus released a new book entitled Stop Action. and it contained a reference to Lions players being called a bunch of jerks. Bears tried a little trickery here. He lumbered 28 yards on this play that set up an 11-yard touchdown by running back Cyril Pinder. But it was a case of too much, too little, and too late, as the Lions had sewed up a 38-24 victory. The Rams' front four gave up a 38-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter to wide receiver Ken Burrow. Not the same spelling of the last name for the Oilers wide receiver. After this touchdown, the Rams couldn't stop the run as the Falcons rushed for 297 yards. Art Malone had 103, and number 43, Dave Hampton, had 161. Bob Berry only completed 2 passes on the day, and he was Atlanta's only quarterback this day. Roman Gabriel was ineffective in this game, only going 5 of 18 passes with 2 interceptions. So backup Pete Beathard took over. But Beathard performed even worse by completing 5 of 14 passes and 4 interceptions. Tommy Nobis returned this one 29 yards for 6 points, and the Falcons ended up crushing the Rams 31-3. The Denver Broncos only had 2 wins in 24 games against the Kansas City Chiefs, but tickets were still in demand in Denver. Steve Ramsey aired it out early in hopes of changing the Broncos' misfortune. Glenn Dawson hit number 21, Dennis Holman, for 37 yards. Unfortunately, Dawson was sidelined for the rest of the game with bruised ribs on this play. Enter Mike Livingston, who in 10 games played since 1968 for the Chiefs, sported a 10-win, 0-loss record. His first pass was good for 35 yards to tight end Willie Frazier. His next pass was to Willie Frazier again. Livingston was hot as he tossed another touchdown, this time to Dennis Holman. And you can't have a game without Otis Taylor scoring. Here's a 29-yarder. The finishing touches were provided by Jim Kearney, who returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the fourth quarter. 43 yards here, and then another one for 32 yards. The Raiders came out firing against the Chargers. Raymond Chester snared this 23-yard touchdown from Darryl LaMonica, and they had themselves a 14-0 first quarter lead. Number 37, running back Sid Edwards, made his first appearance as a Charger and rushed for 97 yards and caught 6 passes for 100 yards. He accounted for over 2/3 of the Chargers' offensive production. Number 41, Phil Villapiano, and number 48, Nehemiah Wilson, felt his running wrath. LaMonica led Chester a bit too closely to the skateboard ramp and couldn't get his team into the end zone again, as the game was tied at 17. Sid Edwards kept blasting away. This time, Jack Tatum, number 31, met him face to face. With 1 minute left in the game, old graybeard George Blanda lined up to try a 37-yard field goal. He shanked it to the right. Head coach John Madden somehow kept himself from going ballistic as the game ended in a tie. After a scoreless first quarter, Billy Kilmer and Charlie Taylor got things going with 2 touchdown passes. Jim Plunkett also took to the air and hit Reggie Rucker for 40 big ones. Josh Ashton hit pay dirt here, closing the Redskins' lead. Number 31, Ashton had a big day with 108 rushing yards, 24 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. Plunkett and Rucker tied the game here. The man who would become the NFL's MVP for 1972 ran for 36 yards on this play in the fourth quarter. He had 113 yards on the day. Elmer hit Jerry Smith for a touchdown. It was Smith's 3rd catch of the year, all of which were touchdowns. Plunkett's Pats regained the lead, 24-21. Then Kilmer and Taylor responded with this big 61-yarder. Kurt Knight kicked a 33-yard field goal, but a roughing the holder penalty gave the Redskins a first down as head coach George Allen refused to accept the points. However, the Redskins could not capitalize, and Kurt Knight missed a 27-yard field goal attempt. Bill Malinchak blocked Pat Studstill's punt, and Washington scored 2 points on a safety. After the ensuing free kick, Knight missed a 50-yard attempt. The final score was the Patriots 24, Redskins 23 in a very zany game.